Hey guys, welcome to another tutorial in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 in the A320 Neo. Okay, so not so much a tutorial today, but a video that I keep getting asked to do, and it's to do some videos of some special approaches at difficult airports. And one that I keep getting asked a lot about is Innsbruck in Austria. The airport code for that, Lima Oscar Whiskey India. If you've got Navigraph, then punch that in, bring up the chart. And what makes this a difficult approach is the fact that it's a very steep approach to avoid the terrain and the mountains around it. So you're coming in quite hard, quite fast, and you have to descend quite rapidly once you get through the terrain around it. So it's difficult enough coming in on the main runway, which is runway 26, making that localizer approach. It's an offset like localizer as well, so it has to be a visual approach when you get the airport in sight. Just to make things a little bit more difficult this time, however, instead of landing straight in on runway 26, which you'll see in a minute, we're actually going to do a circle to land and land on runway 08, which, if you've got the Navigraph charts for that, you'll see requires some sort of very precise flying to make sure everything lines up exactly right. It is a fully visual approach, although just for this exercise I will be having the autopilot help me do the approach. The autopilot, however, does not fly the approach. There's no green nav line for the autopilot to fly. All I'm doing is telling it to hold certain headings and altitudes that are specified in the charts, and then the final base leg turn is will all be hand flown. If I can find a link to this particular chart, then online, I'll pop a link in the video description so you can fly it along with me and see exactly what we're doing. But yeah, I am going to use the autopilot just to hold some altitudes and headings so I can concentrate on talking to you as well. Alright, so when we get going, we'll be approaching a VOR based on the airport, which is called the Oscar Echo Victor VOR. When we get 4.2 miles from it, we need to make a left turn to heading 230. So that's about where we're at. So let's get going. Okay, so here we are. You can see I've got the terrain radar on as well. We can just see in the distance is the airfield, and you can just see the lights flashing there. So this is, for most airlines, a captain's only approach. You have to be specially trained on to make this approach. So we need to maintain 3,700 feet until taking the base turn. And then we do a very, very short turn to finals. It's very, very short, and we'll come in fast and we'll descend quite rapidly. So we'll probably get some alarms going off as well in the aircraft. Particularly as for this exercise, it's not fully configured for landing, but that's just a simulator issue. That's not the aircraft, how it would behave in real life. The other thing we need to do is make sure that this approach is done as slowly as possible, because we don't want to be coming in too fast when we get to the finals. Okay, so we're 6 miles away, and I said the magic number we're looking for is 4.2 miles. Oh, I always forget to turn ATC off when I'm doing these videos. Okay, so I'm going to start slowing the aircraft down even more. And with that, we'll go flaps 3. So we're 5 miles away. So we need to hold that altitude of 3,700 feet, and you will see that we actually get quite close to this hill over here on the left-hand side. Okay, so 4.3, 4.2, we can start to make that turn now to heading of 230, which, if you've got the chart, you'll be able to see that. And our next visual cue is when we are abeam the threshold of runway 26. So as I say, this is normally all hand flown. I'm just using the autopilot so I can concentrate on explaining things to you guys, monitoring the instruments. Of course, it's certainly a two-pilot job performing this approach. So we can see the runway just down here. And if you were a passenger on board this aircraft, I don't doubt if you didn't know exactly what was happening, you'd be a little concerned. Okay, so we're now going to turn to a heading of 264 as per the chart, and there we can just see the airfield just there. So it's going to be a very tight turn. And we're holding that airspeed of 145. So have a quick look outside. So this approach is not flown very much for obvious reasons. But if the winds are coming from the east, which they're not today looking at this, so you wouldn't be doing this approach in real life today, but if the winds are coming from the east and you're coming from the east, you've either got the option of making this circle to land approach or going right out of the way over to the west hand side of the airport to perform a landing on runway 28. On runway 08, sorry. Okay, so what we're waiting for now is a distance of 3.5 miles from that Oscar Echo Victor VOR. And that's when I will knock off the autopilot, and it will be hand flown for the base turn and finals. We also want to do this as slow as possible, so let's start reducing the speed of the aircraft, and with that pop the gear down and full flaps. .7 miles. So we're waiting for 3.5, and then that's where the fun begins. 3.5 miles, so here we go. Need to watch that we don't lose much altitude because we're very close to the ground. Coming over that mountainside there. We should see in a moment the airfield. There we are. So this is now a fully visual approach. And we need to lose altitude because we are too high. But it is a fast approach, and you can just see the pappies now starting to line up. 3 white at the moment. And now we're on profile.
Don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink. Sink rate. Sink rate. Sink rate. Sink rate. Don't sink.
Doesn't help that I've actually got the wind behind me. I should have set that before doing the tutorial, shouldn't I?
Don't sink, don't sink. Sink rate. Sink rate. Don't sink, don't sink, don't sink, don't sink. Don't sink, 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 don't sink.
20. Retard. 5.
So certainly not down the centre line, but we're down in one piece and safe. Welcome to Innsbruck. Okay, yeah, so there you go. That's the sort of approach that you wouldn't really want to do unless you had to. You do require special training for that, and it is a captain's only landing. To be fair, the normal approach into Innsbruck is a captain's only landing, so to make the circling procedure is much more difficult, as you've just witnessed. If I, as I say, if I can find the chart, I'll pop that into the description of the video so you can take a quick look at that. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share any of the videos on here, and that'd be great. And we have more tutorials on the way. I'll try and do some more videos of more dangerous approaches, and of course we have the live streams as well that take place throughout the week. All right. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again soon. Bye bye.